Peoples, good afternoon. It is Thursday, December 28th, and I am here with your geopolitical news. Al Jazeera reports end unlawful killings in occupied West Bank. UN tells Israel. Latest UN report warns the situation in the territory is rapidly deteriorating and calls for accountability. The United Nations has called on Israel to end unlawful killings and settle the violence in the occupied West Bank, warning of rapidly deteriorating human rights situations during intensified Israeli raids. In a report published on Thursday, the UN Human Rights Office detailed a sharp increase in airstrikes and military incursions into densely populated refugee camps, resulting in deaths, injuries, and widespread damage to civilian infrastructure in the occupied territory. So there's a couple of different ways to look at this. Are the United Nations finally beginning to wake up? Is the United States finally beginning to wake up? Is some of its Western allies finally beginning to wake up? Or maybe it's something else. You know, we are approaching 2024 and it is a serious election year. I can only imagine that for many politicians and many people in positions of power, as it relates to the military industrial complex, I'm pretty sure that there's so much at stake this year. 2024, I'm pretty sure there's so much at stake. And so maybe this is a way for them to try to walk back their support for Israel and what they absolutely know is genocide. And so, like I said, there's many ways you can look out, you can look at the United Nations making this report. But I like to lean towards more of a, I guess you would say, for them, a self-motivating factor, which is the fact that 2024 is a serious election year. So I won't say that these people will stop or want to stop or want to walk back or want Israel to calm down or stop what they're doing. No, this has everything to do with something else. Because if 2024 wasn't an election year, then I'm almost willing to bet that the United States and the United Nations stance on this situation would be to increase. It would be to intensify. So I'm not disillusioned by the fact that there's a run for the presidency, for the United States presidency next year. And these people have to walk a very fine line. They're walking on a tightrope as we speak, as it relates to geopolitical events. So I am not disillusioned at all. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports South Africa's historic support for Palestine. South Africa has displayed robust support for Palestine over Israel's war on Gaza. This solidarity has a long history with roots in South Africa's apartheid past. So now I'm going to play some of this video right here once again to give you guys some context. I always give you guys more than just my opinion, more than just my thoughts, more than just my views.
South Africa's government has shown some of the strongest support for Palestinians over Israel's war on Gaza since October 7th. In October, President Cyril Ramaphosa declared his solidarity with Palestinians, while holding a Palestinian flag and donning a kufiya, a symbol of the Palestinian struggle for self-determination.
They have been under occupation for almost 75 years.
In November, lawmakers voted to shut down the Israeli embassy and suspend ties with the country until a ceasefire is reached. But support for Palestinians in
So lawmakers have already voted to shut down the embassy. They no longer want Israel in Africa. You understand? They no longer want them in certain parts in certain countries in Africa.
South Africa extends beyond the government. Thousands of South Africans have taken to the streets calling for a ceasefire and have thrown themselves behind the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. One of Cape Town's most famous neighborhoods, the Boekop, is covered in murals showing solidarity for Palestinians. South African support for Palestine is not new. South Africa has historically backed Palestinians, likening the plight of Palestinians to South Africa's black majority under apartheid. Many draw parallels between the segregation, restricted movement, land dispossession, and separate legal systems in apartheid South Africa and in Israel and occupied Palestine.
So this is the connection. You know, some of us are connected through so much in life. But one thing that seems to be constant, no matter what race, creed, or color you are, pain seems to be something that is universal, and we all connect through it. And so when you see the suffering going on with a people, a civilization, and you can remember or reflect on the time that you and your people suffered the same, then it is very moving, it is very touching. And so this is where you get uprising, civil unrest. This is where these things are birthed.
During apartheid, the Palestinian Liberation Organization backed the African National Congress's struggle against white minority rule. Israel's government, on the other hand, allegedly supported the apartheid government by supplying it with arms and military technology in the 70s, when there was an international arms embargo on South Africa. In 1997,
So you get to see that Israel has been terrorists, terrorizing not just the the region of the Arabs and the Middle East, but they have been assisting in terroristic acts all over the world. They've been assisting just like the United States have been assisting. And so these are the things that these countries do best. As I said before in the previous video, they pick out conflicts and then they choose a side in the conflict. Whatever side best, you know, accommodates their wants and their needs. They choose that side, they support that side, they fund that side. And very well, as what you're seeing happening in the Israel Palestine conflict, the United States will support Israel to a certain extent. But then, as they continue to move forward, and the people in the United States are so overwhelmed with anger and frustration over it, that the United States will leave them high and dry, as they've done so many times before. Now, many people may feel or consider that this may not happen because the United States and Israel are so close. Like they are so close. They are so close as it relates into relations, and what they do, one does, the other does. They are that close in nature. And so this is what you get.
becoming South Africa's first democratically elected president, Nelson Mandela said, "We know too well that our freedom is incomplete without the freedom of Palestinians." He called Palestine the moral issue of our time.
So that was just a clip that I wanted to play for you guys to give you some examples of people all around the world in support of a ceasefire. And the United States of America, once again, and its Western allies are not in support of such ceasefire. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports Ukraine welcomes latest U.S. aid package as war nears 2-year mark. The package, valued at 250 mil, will include air defense system components and artillery rounds. So Ukraine just got another aid package from the United States. And I'm pretty sure Zelensky was hoping and praying for more. You understand? As I've been telling you, the Russian-Ukraine conflict is a very one-sided situation, regardless of what you've been hearing in the Western news media outlets. It's very one-sided. Russia is totally destroying Ukraine. And you know the sad part is that I don't even feel like the United States ever cared truly about Ukraine. Once again, these are proxy wars being fought in America's place because America has conflicts with these regions as well. But rather than get involved, because once again, we are we are moving closer towards an election year, rather than get involved, America has chosen to what? Be stagnant. So it's been stagnant in its movement, and it is chosen to let these countries fight its proxy wars for it. But like I said, Zelensky has been coming to the United States of America begging and begging and begging for more and more aid. And one has to wonder, to what avail? What has it done for you? The conflict is only lasted this long because Putin will not do the unthinkable. And I think we all know what the unthinkable is. In other geopolitical news, Al Jazeera reports Israeli embassy removes video of imaginary Hamas attack on Seoul. The Israeli embassy in South Korea has been pressured to delete a self-produced video showing an imaginary attack on Seoul by masked assailants it likened to Hamas. South Korea's foreign ministry called the video inappropriate. Now, I'm going to play some of this video. The video is really not that long. From what I can tell, it's only 54 seconds. So I'm going to play the video in its entirety. But this, once again, falls in line with what I've been saying about Israeli war tactics. This is just disgusting, man. This is absolutely disgusting. So, as you can see, that's a propaganda video that the Israeli government have created in a film studio. So, my question is, what were you planning to do with this video? Have you made other videos? This falls right in line with the war tactics that I've been speaking of, that these cowards are inflicting upon these people. You understand? So I can only gather that you would do something like this to cause some type of mass hysteria, to cause some type of panic. You understand? To cause people to feel one way about a group of people. This is what you're trying to accomplish. You see, the bad thing about that is, and you know how it works against you, is that we're getting footage in real time now about what you're doing now. So you're in some film studio trying to create some propaganda, something that will cause, like I said, mass hysteria, cause mass panic. And so you would get people to totally hate these people so you can in turn do what it is that you ultimately wanted to do from the very beginning. And that's to destroy and wipe out a whole group of people. So drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this. Did you know about any of these stories? How does this particularly make you feel when you hear some of these stories? Drop a comment in the comment section, and always remember, stay vigilant, stay safe, peace.